So we are here on no heat call. And unfortunately, I can't hide the company name of the ones that installed this unit because, well, they have their name put on it from Goodman. The comfort first, loyalty promise, forever. With a Goodman? Really? Okay, well, that's what you want to stake your reputation on. Anyway, we are doing a no heat call on this, and whether they were the ones that did it or not, I don't know. Somebody came out and replaced the blower motor in this, and they said it worked for about a day, then it quit. And I try to go up here and look at the alert code, and this is going to have that segment display on it, which gives you digits, but there's a bunch of wires bundled up between the sight glass and the display. And it looks like it says 19 from what I can see. I don't know. So I'm hoping the door switch is taped so this thing doesn't reset, but we'll see if there's a 19 fault code on the sticker when I get the door off. Yes. Well, it's either a 19 or a 61, depending on how you look at it. So, he said somebody replaced the blower motor in it. And let's see what we got. Everything's plugged up. So, looks like some kind of Goodman version of a communicating something or another. We got R, common, G. Okay, so we got black for W1, Y, so it looks like it's 24 volt controlled. So I did come in from the house first, and the thermostat is set to 73. It's reading 70 degrees inside. So let's confirm first that we are getting that call to the unit, which we should be. I'm hoping we are anyway. Anyway, so common W1. Getting 27 volts. So if you want to see it, 27 volts right there. So let's see if we can figure out what either 19 or 61 means. Alright, so I'm just unplugging some things and then plugging them back up, and then we're going to see if we've got a good connection. This is going to be the one from the blower motor right there. And then we're going to unplug some things down here from the motor. Probably while I have them unplugged. Going to be our high voltage. I'm going to check continuity on this harness real quick. See what we get. Blue, gray, black, and red. So we have continuity. Let's plug back up. Good and snug. And Make sure everything on here is tight. Because that harness goes straight from here to the motor, and it's a communicating type motor, kind of like the serial ports in the train stuff. But if there's a new motor in it and it's still not communicating, then the problem's going to be with the board, not the motor. So let's turn the power back on and see what gives. Yep, right back to B1. Huh. Let's try energizing G and see what happens. Probably nothing, because he did have the fan in the on position as well. Let's try to see if something would run. Well, he's just clicking. Yeah. One of these. I mean, this is a let me check, see what kind of voltage comes off of these terminals. Look at the wiring diagram first. Alright, so I'm getting 120 volts to my power harness for the motor. Now I've got to figure out this communications deal on this thing and how it operates. So there it is. If you look on the bottom below that plug right there, it says 12 volts ground, and it's got RX-TX for transmit and receive. So this is a communicating motor, not a 24 volt operated ECM motor. So my ground is going to be the blue wire. So we're going to be checking this in DC voltage. So let's first confirm that I have DC voltage. So 12 volts. I'm pretty sure it's going to be DC, because that's how they work. So as you can see, 0 volts DC coming off of this board. So if it doesn't have any DC voltage to drive the communications, there's not going to be any. Wiggling it doesn't change that. And just let me check the transmit and receive. Let me check this at the board itself. I did check the continuity in the harness, but it should do the same thing. And then we'll check it at the board itself. You know what might help? If I turn the damn power on. How about that? There we go. Now let's start this again. So 11.9, 12 volts DC. So now let's go to our transmit terminal and see if we're getting a data package. We're getting a pulse. So let's plug it back up to the motor and see what it does. So after all that, it is running. So let me double check my data packages again. So I do have 12 volts being supplied. I don't know if you can see the meter right there. I'll try to turn the light on. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. I do have 12 volts DC being supplied there. My transmit, if you see it pulse, it starts at 0 and it'll, got it in there good. It should pulse typically when it's transmitting. Make sure these are plugged in real good. At least the train does. I'm not familiar with these Goodmans. Should be similar. Let's see if we get anything back. So if you see it there, it'll say no, it's not. Maybe it's just because I got the fan on. I don't know. Let me disconnect that. Typically, with the train anyway, you'll see a pulse up when it transmits to, and then a pulse down from 12 when it transmits or receives back from the motor. So let's see what we get now. Now I'm back to a B1 fault again. So I wonder if we don't have a bad connection in this board. Goodmans are known for their crappy solder points. All these wires are plugged in here tight. And sometimes these female fittings can spread open a little bit. And maybe you end up with a crappy connection. That's funny how it came on and ran when I turned the switch back on that time. And really the only thing I was doing was sticking leads in there and checking voltage. And everything back there is tight. I'm gonna say we got a bad board on this thing. Well, you know, the motor was replaced 2 days ago by somebody, and it's doing the same thing basically. And I got continuity on my harness, and I know I have. Let me check here and confirm that that 12 volts is actually reaching the motor to drive that communications. And it is 12 volts DC at the motor. But I should be getting a pulse here in this voltage. I'm getting a little one from 3 to 3.8, but it's not anywhere near enough. But it just says communications failure. That's all it really says. It doesn't tell you anything else. Well, it says blower communication error. But I mean, that could be the board. Well, we know there's another motor in here. I'm getting the 12 volts off the board, but it still has to transmit out to it. So let me turn the power back off real quick and make sure there's not a control board error fault or something. There is a fault for an internal control error with the board, but we're not getting that. And we ran into this with the trains. You get the blower communications error. Is it the board? Is it the damn motor? And you can do I'm not going to try it on this because I don't want to burn anything up. I don't know if it would work. There is a go, no-go test that you can do. And jump the common over. Common in 24. And I don't know if it would work on this, and I don't want to risk shorting something out. I would think it would work the same way. But you just heard the motor come on a while ago when I had G jumped out, and that error code went away, and suddenly it popped back up. So I'm going to think we've got a problem with this board, not necessarily the motor. So I'm going to get one ordered for it, and we'll get back and get it put in. Anyway, appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, and gotta love a Goodman.